to support you in your population of the target market determination template. Before we go into the Excel template, this is just to show you how some of the columns that you populate will actually pull through to your PDF version as you go through completion with the Zeidler system. Your relationship manager will have already identified to you that your product has been caught by the Design and Distribution Obligations RG274 legislation, and for those purposes, you are required to have a target market determination publicly available free of charge. All elements on the target market determination Word document highlighted in yellow are some of the elements that you will be asked to complete as part of the Excel template. Other columns are purely there to support reporting purposes as we distribute this information out through Zeidler to your distribution endpoint as identified. Let's start looking at the template in more detail. We have columns going from A through to CD, so there are a lot of columns to populate, but most of them are quite intuitive. And again, you will have received some guidance from your relationship manager when you've received your standing template Excel format. There is always an instructions tab. This will be updated as we receive more information or any of the columns change. So we thoroughly encourage you to look at your instructions tab before you start. And obviously refer to your relationship manager at any point as you're completing this Excel template before sending it through to the email provided here, which is the TMD generator at zeidlerlegalservices.com. Generally, all columns that have green highlights here on row 2 are columns that are required populating by yourself, the investment manager. Columns highlighted in pink are for information and showing you underneath where this information is going to be used and how that's populated through to the end. Row 3 is telling you the actual name of the individual column, and this is a machine readable data format. So you may see something that doesn't make much sense to yourself, but it will make a lot of sense when the end format is distributed through to your end platforms. As you scroll down, you can see that you actually get to a column here and it's highlighted in yellow. This is the very first row that you can now use to input your details for each of the columns as requested above. If you have more than one fund that is caught by DDO, simply insert a new row and continue populating across the template. Column A is your field name only. As you can see, there is no yellow here, so there is no population required by yourself. Simply scroll along to column B, inserting your investment manager name. Column C, not required. Column D is the actual fund name as it appears on your PDF. Column E is actually for Zeidler to complete themselves. Column F is your APIR code of the fund, and note that this will be unique at a share class level. Column G and H are not applicable if you do not have a listing exchange or a product exchange code. If you are in any doubt whether you have one of these, please reach out to your relationship manager in the first instance. Column I is only for funds with ISIN codes, otherwise leave blank. J is not expected to be used, only if you have an issuer product code, but if you have an APIR and also an ISIN, you would not be expected to use column J. Column K is the field that's actually pulled through to your PDF TMD as the fund name itself. Please ensure that there is reconciliation between naming conventions through your PDF through your TMD. Column L is your ARSN, and column M is which AFSL this particular fund falls under. It will either be your EQT responsible entity, EQT trustee wealth services, or EQT limited. Choosing one of these from the drop-down will automatically pre-populate the next couple of columns. Again, if you're in any doubt which AFSL your fund is under, please reach out to your relationship manager in the first instance. Column N through to U pre-populates with all of the information that is required from the AFSL, and also it's computer-generated information to support your platforms when they receive machine-readable data from our TMD generator, Zeidler, and that means that you won't be contacted with any queries relating to this. Please do not overwrite any of the information in these rows. Continuing from column V through to column Y, these will automatically pre-populate with the version and date of your TMD and the status as per the Zeidler system when you go through to do review and approve. Column Z is a free format text, which is your target market summary. And the wording in the actual example here is that the product is likely to be available, likely to be appropriate, and will be seeking what is the investment objective and what will be the time frame of the investment, the risk profile, and also whether they have daily or infrequent access to capital. Please refer to the TMD Quick Reference Guide for more information on how to put this sentence together. In column AA, your rationale is requested for your RAG ratings in columns AB through to AE. This is expected to include your fund's aims and your distribution frequency statement. Again, please refer to your TMD Quick Reference Guide, which is in Word format and is easier for you to read, to then copy paste information into this template. Column AB through to AE is simply asking for each of those sections for your TMD, whether your capital growth based on your response for your rationale is yes for green, neutral is amber, so potential target market, and no is red, not target market. The Y, the neutral, and the no carry through for each of the sections that you have to populate to arrive at the RAG ratings, red, amber, green in your PDF TMD. Column AF is looking for the product use and where the product invests and the diversification of the fund. An example is here. Again, referring to your TMD Quick Reference Guide will provide additional suggestions and words that you can rely upon and support you to come to your own wording for this column. AG through to AI is again looking for red, amber, green in the machine readable data format. Yes being green, neutral being amber, and no, N being red. Column AJ is the minimum suggested time frame for holding investments in this fund, and the example you can see below. And again, there will be an element of the TMD Quick Reference Guide which will provide more support if you need any help on this column. Completing AK through to AM with the Y, N, or neutral will give you the red, amber, green that will flow through to your TMD template. Column AN is using definitions at the end of this particular TMD example, and you will be able to see that at the back of your quick reference guide. If you do use the standard risk measure, then please align the risk return as per low, medium, and high. Otherwise, refer to your PDS and see whether you use the language low, medium, high, or you may even use moderate or another terminology. If you are in any doubt as to what to put here, please refer to your relationship manager in the first instance. Again, AO through to AR is looking for your red, amber, green for that particular statement. Y being green, neutral being amber, N being red. AS is considering the liquidity of your fund. You may be able to request redemption within a business day, but how likely is it that the investor is likely to have access to those funds? Again, there is some example wording in the row below here. And again, there is also support for you in the TMD Word Quick Reference Guide. Columns AT through to AX, exactly the same. Y is for green, neutral is for amber, potentially in target market, and N is for red, outside of target market. And now we're into the distribution conditions for your fund. If you have no distribution conditions, then please answer Y. If you do have distribution conditions, please answer N. And a small note, if your fund is RG240 or a complex fund, we are expecting to see a distribution condition from you. This distribution condition may be personal advice. It can only be across personal advice platforms only. If this is true for your fund, then please answer Y in this column. If you answered Y in column AZ, please include a rationale why only to personally advised platforms. In column BB, if you have specified distributors, specified platforms, then please answer a Y, otherwise it will be no. In column BC, if you have answered yes or Y to BB, then BC will actually be the specified platform names that you need your fund distributed on. Please note, if your fund is available on a number of platforms and has no distribution conditions, this is the only column you will fill in, and you will fill in with a Y, and you will ignore the rest. Finally, if you do have any rationale around your specified platforms, please enter them in this column BD. Columns BE and BF are not expected to be used. They are for other distribution conditions. If you do believe your fund doesn't meet one of those distribution columns highlighted below, then please refer to EQT in the first instance, your relationship manager, for further guidance. BG, distribution. This is giving you rationale, and this will be pulled through to your TMD. As you can see below, the example only suitable for distribution to consumers who have received personal advice. This may also be only suitable for specified platforms, or this may, in the majority of cases, say there are no distribution conditions. If you have answered Y to column AY, then this column, BH, will be not applicable. Otherwise, Take a copy of the text that you have used for your rationale in columns BA or BD and insert them here. BI is the initial review period for your TMD. You can see here on this example that this product was a complex product, an RG240, and therefore it will attract a more frequent review by EQT with yourselves. The maximum period for a TMD review initially is 1 year, 3 months. The maximum subsequent review period is 3 years, 3 months. Note, RG240s will be treated to a shorter review frequency. If you are in any doubt as to whether your fund is an RG240 or whether you have a shorter review period, please check in with your relationship manager before populating these 2 columns. Columns BL through to BP will automatically pre-populate and do not require you to complete anything. Likewise, columns BQ through to BU will automatically pre-populate. We have left this detail in so that you can see what it will likely be populated with. Columns BV through to CA will also pre-populate. Again, this is information only so that you can understand how your data is being used. Column CB is an important aspect of your TMD, and it comes in the important terms. And this is giving information and must include the sentence where your fund's PDF can be obtained and including a URL to that PDF. Column CC will automatically pre-populate with the disclaimer text associated with the equity trustees or the EQT responsible entity services or the equity trustees wealth services as you identified earlier on in this standing data template. And the final column is for you to provide your logo sample by email and to include either a sample in here as a PDF or PNG in high resolution. That brings us to the end of this short training session. We hope that this has supported you in completing your standing data template for your TMD. Thank you.